Great afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming to the creativity stage. Welcome to day 3 of MadFest. For those who've just joined, I'm your host, Mace Al-Ansari, and I'd love to introduce the session by Cocreatd. We've got Paul, the founder of Cocreatd, Laura, and we've got Ben talking about creativity in the age of AI. So please welcome them to the stage.
Welcome, everybody. My name's Paul. As introduced, I'm the founder of a business called Cocreatd. We've been doing something quite interesting at MadFest over the last couple of days. I won't go into the detail, but it's all around this idea of AI is dramatically disrupting our industry at the moment in all kinds of different ways. And our belief at Cocreatd is that now has never really been a better time to start your own thing. Today, we're going to cover a few themes with a couple of guests that I'm excited to have with me today who have kind of done that thing, forged their own path incredibly successfully by building personal brands and audiences and huge credibility in their niches online. We're going to explore some themes around how AI is disrupting creative disciplines, and why now is maybe a better time than there's ever been in our industry for starting your own thing. So I'll let these guys do their introductions as they'll do a much better job than me. So Ben, would you like to go first?
Hi everyone, my name is Ben. I'm a full-time creator, generally in the tech space, AI, editing, tutorials across TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, delving into more about LinkedIn, but very much cemented into this new wave of AI, SaaS software, web applications, mobile apps that are helping creators, businesses, agencies make videos faster and better, essentially.
Hi everyone, I'm Lara, mostly known for being a LinkedIn influencer. I'm also an investor and a co-founder of this new business in B2B SaaS. I've got about 270,000 followers on LinkedIn and trying to grow my TikTok like Ben's.
Great, welcome both. So, I mean, you guys are two people who've built really large audiences across social and built really successful businesses off the back of those. As so much of your content is built around who you are and your knowledge and credibility, I'm really interested to understand your perspectives on how AI is starting to disrupt your respective disciplines and whether it's increasing the creative possibilities that exist there or actually lowering the average bar just due to the volume of people who can now kind of enter the space. What's your take on it? Are you a fan of what AI is doing to your spaces? Ben, do you want to lead us off?
I think not many people know where the space is going with regards to content creation and how AI is really going to impact the space long term. I think in the short term we're seeing improvements to workflows with LLMs, idea generation, like script writing, and then now we're starting to see the image and video generation models get a lot better and give a lot more practical use case. What happens then to the bar of sort of standard of content when we've spoken about this before around this concept of like infinite content machines, where I just give an example of if I create a piece of content today and it goes viral this evening, potentially in the future there will be machines that have been built by people that can replicate that tomorrow, and there are now 1,000 copies, and it just dilutes everything. And so how do you stay ahead of that is the question. I think it's always been the same answer, is that you just get better at using the tools that are available to you. It's been like that for a while with especially editing programs. Everybody has access to the same tools. It's just who can use the tools in the best way with their own creativity and nuanced knowledge to create the best output. So we're all competing in the same way. It's just the bar is going to get higher, but that just then becomes the new norm. And it's then how do you sort of stay ahead and above that, as you just become better at using the tools that are available to be more efficient and produce better outputs than everybody else.
I guess, Lara, that plays out slightly differently in your space. And I always think you've built your credibility initially in personal branding, and personal being the key word there. How do what's your take? Is AI a good thing for personal branding, or does it risk taking the personal bit out of personal branding?
AI is the ultimate cheat code for anyone trying to build a business and a personal brand, in my opinion. I built my business up to 6 figures using AI. I had an agency that was ruled by AI back in like 3 years ago when ChatGPT just came out. I couldn't hire. I didn't want to hire, and I liked high profit margins, so the majority of my agency revenue came from me managing 10 different clients using AI, and none of them were technically AI-generated content that looked inauthentic. You know, authenticity is the biggest word that is thrown next to AI and personal branding. The truth is, AI is only going to replace 99% of people that are bad marketers and writers, and the top 1% that actually know how to leverage AI to average extent are the ones that are going to get ahead. I think the conversation around AI in the marketing space and even in the AI space is about like how do we stay ahead and how do we create better and use all of these LLMs, our AI agents. But the reality is, if we go outside of our bubble, most people don't actually even know how to use ChatGPT to its full potential. ChatGPT bots and ChatGPT agents and like the projects, no one knows. So I want to take away this fear that we're falling behind and actually just learn how to use ChatGPT to a 50% stage like an average person would, and then leverage it to create content. Personal branding won't ever lose authenticity as long as you have interesting stories to share. The best way to build a personal brand is to be useful and interesting, right? And the only way you can do that is by having experiences in your life that can actually contribute. Whether you use AI or not, that's up to you. It obviously will speed up the process, but AI will never take away from a good personal brand because that is inherent to the person, not the content.
I totally agree. One of the things we've been talking a lot about at Cocreatd is around when we're starting to think about tech products. Tech is so easy to build now. That there's a big conversation in the VC space, big conversation in the startup space around how you build something that's defensible, something that has a moat around it. And attention and credibility and founder credibility, to me, feels like one of those big areas that brands can still win in. Where do you think we are on the maturity curve in terms of your two spaces at the moment? Personal branding and UGC have been around for quite some time. Do you think that people are still skeptical of that? Are people still not leaning into it enough? I feel it's really important, but what are your thoughts on that, Ben? Are people embracing the full possibilities of UGC content yet?
I think just to go back to your first point, distribution and trust, I think, is incredibly valuable, more so than ever, because it's becoming easier to build, especially with all the no-code tools and Cursor, Lovable, Bolt. The barrier to entry when it comes to building products is lower than it has ever been before, which means it's more competitive, which means if I build a brilliant product tomorrow, lots of people can now also whip up MVPs and stuff that's ready to at least go to market and get some testing. But none of them have distribution. A lot of these are like just bros on Twitter. That is the space where it's happening. And people like me and Lara have distribution, have trust. So if I find a product that I like that's been built by somebody, I can just distribute that to a large audience, and they will trust me because they will believe that if I'm sharing it, that I think they're going to have value from it. And we can then scale the user base very quickly, get funding, build teams, and outcompete all of the other people that have essentially built the same product. And that didn't answer your second question, but on the sort of UGC space, I think UGC is transitioning into not what it was before, where UGC has traditionally been around consumer products, stuff that you buy every day, lifestyle stuff, where now we're seeing UGC being used and adopted a lot more in the tech space. SaaS, software, web applications, mobile apps. And that's kind of the space that I've found myself in, of just right place, right time. And I think brands are starting to appreciate more that creators and influencers are important at all different levels, and it's finding which creators and influencers, depending on their size and their audience, are the right fit for the brand. And that's what brands are not very good at, because the tech space is so new. They look at me and go, Ben's tech. I go, there's sub-niche of a sub-niche of a sub-niche within tech. I'm not tech, I am like in a sub-niche here, and brands are really terrible at identifying these new, very small sub-niches where they can get the most value. And yeah, I haven't got the answer to how you do that, but I know people are starting to build tools that are using AI to scrape scripts to then actually be able to really dissect what does this creator create and what sub-niche are they in.
Great. And I suppose just to reframe the question into your world, Laura, we obviously know how important personal branding is. Do you still find people are unwilling to put themselves out there and aren't capitalizing on those big things in terms of distribution and founder credibility, or are you finding personal branding a little bit further up the maturation curve? What's your take in terms of people who are speaking to you about embracing the world of personal branding?
Well, I agree with Ben. For the first time ever, product is easy, distribution is hard. With Lovable and all of these companies coming across, and you can build a literal website and AI SaaS in minutes, people think that that's it. But the winners of this AI bull run, I would call it, are the people that have the most distribution and capability to market, which is probably me and Ben, who can take a product, an average product, and market it as the best, right? And when it comes to personal branding, and I've seen this over and over and over again, just last week, we launched a wait list just with one email to around 500,000 followers that me and my co-founder have. We managed to get 5,000 new newsletter subscribers and waitlist members for this product that we haven't even announced yet. And that is worth a lot of money to a founder, but they don't understand that in order to get that, they can't pay for that. They need to grow their distribution first. And so with personal brand, that is the key. When you have a personal brand, everything becomes, you're playing on easy mode. Like you have Monopoly money, you're playing Mario Kart instead of everything in hard mode. Personal branding is the biggest unfair advantage any founder can aspire to have. And the best way to build it is through LinkedIn, in my opinion. It's easy, it's got high demand, low supply. And then the content there, in comparison to what Ben produces on TikTok, which is incredibly high production, you can literally just leverage text and photo, you win.
I agree, and I still think there's a misconception around it. A lot of people that I speak to, probably in a certain demographic, I think still believe the world of creating content and putting yourself out there is either an ego play, obviously a misconception, and a completely forgetting that point of distribution and it being a huge cheat code to build a business. We have about 4 minutes left, so I'm going to kind of close on a question that you guys have been in your respective fields for a while now. If you were starting from scratch today with the knowledge that you've both kind of acquired on that, are there any specific areas of opportunity that you think are either overlooked or that people really need to double down on? Ben, I know that we've talked a bit about this idea about operators and creators, and I know that's a big thing that you believe is probably overlooked by people who want to scratch that entrepreneurial itch. So maybe you could build a little bit on that, and we'll move on to you to close, Laura.
There's a big narrative on LinkedIn at the moment around, the creator economy. We've got all these creator economy experts that seem to be popping out of nowhere. I'm not sure how someone becomes a creator economy expert, but they seem to be everywhere now. And as a creator, one of the main DMs that I get in my inbox is asking to be like an operator, or run a community for me, essentially be a back-end operations person to help me leverage my followers to essentially monetize them. The problem is that these are all 18-year-old boys that know fuck all about anything. Maybe some of them do, but they're buying courses sold by gurus, teaching them that this is the new way to make money, like drop shipping and everything else. And it kind of is. And I think it's a massively missed opportunity by corporate professionals who are seasoned, who have experience, because I never receive messages from them. And those are the people who I would trust to do a job for me. If I'm outsourcing part of my business and someone to offer a service to me. I want someone who has experience. I want someone that's professional. I want someone that I can trust because it's an extension of my brand. And I just think I speak to lots of creators, and we'll get very annoyed by these people that are thinking that they can just step into our business with no experience and run a complex operation. And I think there is opportunity there for seasoned working professionals that maybe don't want to be a creator, but by finding bigger creators that simply don't have the time to run the back end of a business. But the opportunity is there.
I think that makes loads of sense. I think what a lot of people do when they step out from being maybe senior in a marketing role is to think about fractional marketing director capacities and think in a very linear way. And that's obviously a business that you just launched a business in that model at the moment, Ben. And so, yeah, no, you believe in that. And Lara, let me, to close us off, reframe that question a little bit. You've obviously been really clear that LinkedIn has been the big growth engine. For people that are thinking about doing their own thing, it's obviously a huge growth lever. Is the opportunity still there on LinkedIn, and how do people win there when AI is, like I say, threatening to take the personal out of personal branding?
Forget AI. If I was starting LinkedIn from scratch right now, I would use every single unfair advantage I have. And what are they? If you're good looking, if you're very intelligent, if you have been featured in Forbes, Kajabi, if you've spoken on stage, you have to use that to leverage your authority. Right now, we're playing against millions and millions and millions of creators, founders, entrepreneurs who are trying to get attention. The easiest way to get attention is to use the halo effect. What is a halo effect? When you are deemed to be good at something and therefore good at everything else. So the single post that changed my life, there were two of them. My first post, which was a viral post, I got 4,000 likes and 500,000 impressions in 24 hours, right? The reason why this happened was because I was leveraging the halo effect from a digital marketing master's. The second post that changed my life was this Forbes featured article that I was heading. And me, by putting that I was featured in Forbes, it changed my life. It changed how people perceived me from just a content creator to an actual entrepreneur. And the majority of people that I work with, because they're not inherent creators like me and Ben, they don't want to show off. But I think it's not about showing off. It's about telling people what you're worth. So immediately when people go into your profile, they'll see your banner, for example. And what you need to put on your banner is every single company you've worked with so people know that you are legit. Because like Ben said, there's 18-year-old people on LinkedIn trying to become an operator, trying to get your money, and they don't have any experience. But the unfortunate truth is that people that do have the experience don't talk about it enough. So if any of you are experts right now, and you're trying to be seen and go from invisible to visible, use that thing, use the halo effect, and use every single unfair advantage and achievement that you can utilize as content, and then repeat it every single week.
Great. I think that brings us to time. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you all for listening.